රිවයින් කරන්න පුළුවන් නිසා මුකුත් මගේ වෙන්නේ.
BOTV ටීවී බලන හොඳම විදිහ.
Making headlines on First at 9. Tense situation in Parliament. Parliament briefly suspended and later adjourned till tomorrow following a tense situation over the MP Vijayakala Maheshwaran's controversial statement. Demand for actions. Some civil organizations, political parties and professionals filed cases at the police headquarters requesting to arrest State Minister. Legal experts voice actions to be taken against her.
And she has no right to continue in office at all.
And Mrs. Vijayakala Maheshwaran should be prosecuted for making statements against the government and the constitution of this country.
It is a serious breach of the oath of office that she has taken.
Empowering the youth. Finance Minister Mangala Samaraveera says that the Enterprise Sri Lanka program was designed for creative youths and they will be benefited. Calling foul. The New York Times now says opposition MP are intimidating their journalists, calls government to protect them. Malaysian politics. Former Malaysian Prime Minister Najib Razak was arrested by anti-corruption authorities and will be charged tomorrow. A very good evening to you and welcome to First at 9. I'm Katharina Chang. Now on to your top story tonight. The controversial remarks made by State Minister Vijayakala Maheshwaran yesterday, where she said that terror group, the LTTE, should make a comeback in Sri Lanka, dominated today's parliamentary proceedings. Parliamentary proceedings, meanwhile, had to be temporarily adjourned following a tense situation which erupted within the chamber as members of the joint opposition staged a protest within the House. During today's parliamentary session, much of the focus was on the controversial statement made by State Minister of Child Affairs Vijayakala Maheshwaran today.
State Minister Vijayakala has made a betraying statement to the country which also violates the constitution. We condemn this statement and would like to know whether this is the view of the government or the United National Party. What do you have to say here? As a party, the UNP completely denounced this statement. I called the State Minister to inquire about this and she said she blurted it out because she was upset about the murder of a little girl. Minister, if she was so upset about it, there is the Angoda Mental Hospital near Kolonnawa for her to get herself treated. Honourable Speaker, please listen. When we take oath as parliamentarians, we pledge to protect the constitution and the unitary status of the country. And Vijayakala, being a state minister herself, has violated the constitution by making a statement promoting terrorism. She no longer has the right to represent this parliament. Ask her to do something else for her upset mind. Honourable Speaker, this is not just the views of one party. Even we are against her holding any ministerial position after making such a statement.
It was during the debate that members of the joint opposition came to the centre of the chamber to stage a protest. They demanded that the State Minister be sacked from her position and commencement of a disciplinary inquiry against her.
වීරවංශ මන්ත්‍රීතුමා මම ඔබතුමාට කියන අපව වාඩි වෙන්න කියලා මට වැඩ කටයුතු කරන්න අවස්ථාව දෙන්න. මේක ළඟමඩලක් කරගන්න එපා.
With the developing tense situation, Speaker Karu Jayasuriya temporarily adjourned the session until 2 p.m.
Taking action against this incident is not up to the Speaker of Parliament. I spoke with the Prime Minister and he will take action to launch an investigation. Please tell them yourself as well.
මේ සම්බන්ධයෙන් ඉදිරි පියවර ගන්න අපි අගමැතිතුමත් එක්ක සාකච්ඡා කරමු. හොඳයි බොහොම ස්තුතියි. විමල් වීරවංශ මන්ත්‍රීතුමා මතක තියාගන්න මට එහෙම කිව්වනම් මේ පාර්ලිමේන්තුවට බෝම්බ ගහන්න කියපු කතාව ඉන්නවා. පාර්ලිමේන්තුවට ගිනි චැන්න කියපු කට්ටිය ඉන්නවා. මට කවුරුවත් නවත්තන්න බෑ.
ගරු කතානායකතුමනි මේ සිද්ධිය පාර්ලිමේන්තුවට බෝම්බ ගහනවායි ඒ වගේ සිද්ධියක් නොවේ. ඔබතුමාට වගකීමක් තියෙනවා පක්ෂවල නෙවෙයි විනය පරීක්ෂණයක්.
ඒකනේ පරම ඒව මම කරනවා.
පාර්ලිමේන්තුවට සහභාගීමත් හිටවන්න.
වීරවංශ මන්ත්‍රීතුමා ඇවිල්ලා මෙතන සෙල්ලම් කෙරුවා. පාර්ලිමේන්තුවේ විනයක් තියන්න ඕනේ. ඔබතුමා ලැජ්ජා වෙන්න ඕනේ. මේක පාර්ලිමේන්තුවක්. මොකද්ද මේ? වෙලාව දෙන්නේ නැහැ. ඔබතුමාට වෙලාව දෙන්න ඔබතුමා කතා කරද්දී මේක ඔක්කොම අවුල් කරනවා. වීරවංශ මන්ත්‍රීතුමා ඉතාමත් පහත් විදියට ඇතුළුණා.
මණ්ඩල සංදේශ මගින්
ඔය මේ කරන්නේ කරපුවා මේ කරන්න බෑ. විජයකාන්ත මං ගන්නම්. ඔබතුමා මන්ත්‍රීවරයෙක් ඇසිරෙන්න. මොනවද? බෙදුම් වාදයට මං ඉඩ දෙන්නේ නැහැ. තමතුමා මේ පිටු ඕගොල්ලෝ ඉඳලා බෙදුම් වාදේ ගන්න. හරි. ගරු රංජිත් සොයිසා මහත්මයා ප්‍රශ්න.
විජයකලා එහෙම කිව්වකට ඔබතුමා මොකද කරන්න කියලා අහනවා.
ප්‍රශ්නේ.
විජයකලාගේ ප්‍රශ්නේ කරන්නේ මොකද කරන්න කියලා ආයෙ අහනවා.
අහන්නේ නැද්ද?
ප්‍රශ්නයක තමයි.
ගරු අලුත්ගමේ මහත්මයා ප්‍රශ්න අහනවද?
ගරු කතානායකතුමනි ප්‍රශ්නේ මේක.
ඒක මම බෙදලා ගන්න.
ඔබතුමා ඕනේ ප්‍රශ්න අනවශ්‍ය ප්‍රශ්න අහන්නේ. ඔබතුමා කලබල වෙන්න එපා. ඒ ප්‍රශ්නේ ඔබතුමා පොඩ්ඩක් තේරුම් ගන්න කතානායකතුමා.
ඒක තමයි මම කරන්නේ. මම කරන්න හදන්නේ හෙට පරීක්ෂණයට ටේප් එක බලලා ඒවා පරීක්ෂණයක් කරන්න මම ඒකාධිපතියෙක් නෙමෙයි. ඔව්. පරීක්ෂණයක් කරන්න කලින් ඕන දැනක. ඔව්. ඉතින් වැඩ දාන කරලා ඉන්නවනේ. ඉතින් ඉස්සර බලන්න මොනවද තියෙන්නේ කියලා. අද මම රිපෝට් ඉල්ලලා තියෙන්නේ. මම වාර්තා ඉල්ලලා තියෙන්නේ. ප්‍රසන්න රණවීර මන්ත්‍රීතුමා මෙයා වයින් ගන්න වෙනවා. ප්‍රසන්න රණවීර මන්ත්‍රීතුමා අයින් වෙන්න. දෙවෙනි මතාවට කියන්නේ ඔබතුමා අයින් වෙන්න.
However, members of the joint opposition resumed their protest in the House once the session recommenced. It was in this backdrop the Speaker took measures to postpone the session until tomorrow. Other than a parliamentary reporter said that Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe had entered the House in hope of bringing the situation under control when the Speaker announced the postponement. Speaker of Parliament Karu Jayasuriya in the meantime informed the Attorney General to conduct an investigation in case the statement made by State Minister Vijayakala Maheshwaran yesterday has breached the constitution or the law of the country and take necessary measures. The remarks made by State Minister Vijayakala are widely criticised as flagrant and several factions today filed cases against her statement.
State Minister of Child Affairs Vijayakala Maheshwaran yesterday made a statement regarding the terror group LTTE while addressing the opening ceremony of the programme President's Official Mission held at the Veerasingham Hall in Jaffna.
A 6-year-old student of ours was raped and murdered. In such a backdrop, why does the northern province need the programme President's Official Mission? Is it for the rise of such crimes that we appointed the President? We made him the President amidst many difficulties. What did he do as the President? He is only working for the growth of his party but never protected our people. I remember how we lived back then under the LTTE. Our main view is for the LTTE to rise again. If we want to be alive, to walk safely in roads, and if the children should come back home safely after school, the LTTE should raise their heads. Except the fact that this government released our lands, which I am truly grateful for. They have done nothing. We are also holding ministerial positions in this government and we cannot speak against our leadership since we have limits. But at some instances, we have to go beyond our limits.
The organisation Sinhala Rave, political party Pivuturu Helorume and attorney at law Premanath C. Dolavatta filed 3 separate cases at the police headquarters seeking the arrest of the State Minister. In the meantime, a protest was organised in front of the new bus stand in Anuradhapura as well as the bus stand in Kalutara, calling on the State Minister to resign from her post. All the members of the Northern Provincial Council also depicted their protest over remarks made by State Minister Vijay Kala promoting the LTTE. They wore black armbands to today's session. In the meantime, opinions were not short on the controversial statement as various politicians aired their views on the combustive comments.
ඒක සම්පූර්ණම වැරදි. එයාට එහෙම යා කියලා තිබ්බද කියලා මම දන්නේ. එහෙම කියලා තිබ්බනම් ඒක සම්පූර්ණම වැරදි කතාවක්.
Vijayakala Maheshwaran, I believe, has failed to construct a statement with correct terminologies. She is, as an MP for Jaffna district, is sharing a sorrow, her anger, as a mother, as an MP, as a sister, as a woman, is sharing anger on the total breakdown of law and order in Jaffna. What we should have been discussing right now is not the statement made by Vijayakala Maheshwaran, but we should have discussing the conditions. Therefore, I don't agree with what Vijayakala Maheshwaran has said, but I know, I don't think LTT will be revived, or armed struggle will commence again, or separatism will get any extra strength. It is not so. As I know, in the northern Asian provinces, people are totally given up any support to the separatist tendencies there.
The Sinhala Buddhists are completely disappointed with Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe's government, and they want his government out. I think on the Vijayakala Maheshwaran's statement also, I think expresses the Tamil people's disappointment about the government. I don't think she meant that the LTT should cut back because it is the LTT who killed her own husband. I feel so it is time that Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe took notice of all this and resigned forthwith. All these statements only mean that the Sinhala Buddhist people, the Tamil people, the Muslim people, they're completely disgruntled and disappointed with the government, and they want this government out forthwith.
Now this is against the constitution, it's against the country. We, as the United National Freedom Front, completely reject this kind of behavior and reject this kind of statement. Mrs. Maheshwaran has very clearly said that during the LTT time, there was freedom, which is completely wrong. There are serious problems in the north, the people of the north. People still have not got proper housing. People still have not got proper employment. People still are not being looked after by their politicians. The TNA, including Vijayakala Maheshwaran from the UNP, all of them are, what they are doing is they are trying to blame the South, but it is their duty, it is their responsibility to look after their people. What all of the northern politicians are doing is they are trying to get the Tamil people from the north to be angry with the Sinhalese and the Sinhalese-led government in this country. We are totally against that. And Mrs. Vijayakala Maheshwaran should be prosecuted for making statements against the government and the constitution of this country.
I reject the statement that the LTTE should be established in this country once more. Not only that I reject it, we can't make such statements. What she said could be her private stance, but that is not the stance of the government.
And she has no right to continue in office at all. Let us not forget that while Vijayakala Maheshwaran is making these statements directly in support of the LTTE, now all of this is happening because of the extreme weakness of this government. The government has been reduced to a position of total impotence. They are not in a position to react to these situations and to protect and defend the sovereignty, the integrity and the nationhood of this country. And the country is today paying an exorbitant price for having a non-government, a state of anarchy in this country.
I find that a very serious statement as a Sri Lankan national, because that person, in my opinion, does not wish for or does not consider a democratic form of governance that is subject to the rule of law as the primary principle that governs this country. If someone were espousing a regime or a government that he or she thinks ought to be led by the LTT, then indirectly, that person is saying that I am speaking for or advocating or espousing in terms of the schedule a creation of a separate homeland or the separation of the unitary country that we belong to. And that, I think, is a serious breach of the oath of office that she has taken. And action must definitely be taken against her for that.
Meanwhile, several political parties expressed views following a tense parliamentary session today.
We as public representatives have every right to demand the Speaker to act on such a statement when he does not initiate it himself. As the joint opposition, we will take all action to protect the nation, and maybe the Speaker might not properly understand our intentions. We feel sorry about this situation, but we hope he will be able to understand our intentions. We only asked for 2 minutes to speak, and he did not give us that time. So unfortunately, we are forced to think that he is politically biased. MP Prasanna Ranavira was trying to steal the mace under the pretense of caring about Vijay Kala's statement. How will they act if they ever get power? We would like to tell the joint opposition that there is no need for any theatre here. In the meantime, we ask all our leaders to take action against Vijay Kala for making such a statement. She should be sacked from all government portfolios. We ask the Speaker to immediately convene the Committee on Parliamentary Privileges. Immediate legal action should be taken after an investigation by the committee. Following a comment of this nature, it is rather difficult to control parliamentarians reacting this way. This situation could have been prevented if the government had reacted immediately before these parliamentarians did. This incident happened yesterday, and had the government taken a decision by last night itself, then we would not have seen any unnecessary behaviour such as this in Parliament.
In the meantime, Deputy Minister Ranjan Ramanayake today appeared to contact State Minister Vijay Kala Maheshwaran during a media briefing held in Colombo. The Deputy Minister then made the ensuing conversation audible to the members of the media present by having it on speakerphone.
Rape case එකට LTT ආය ඕන කියලා තියෙන්නේ.
කවුද ඒක බොරුවපා.
ඒක බොරුද කිව්වේ නැද්ද?
නෑ මම කිව්වා ඒ කාලේ මේ වගේ ප්‍රශ්න මොකුත් ආවේ නෑ.
You are a பெரிய පණක්කාරන්. You are living in a very luxury life in මොකද්ද Gregory's Road එකේ ඉන්නවා. ඔයාට නැව් තියෙනවා. I think you can
ඒකම ඒකේ අයියා මගේ පැල්ලිගේ මගේ ළමයා ජීවත් වෙන්න ඕන.
Tamil votes බලාගෙන තමයි ඔයා කිව්වේ එනේ ඒක. ඒක හොඳ නෑ. Tamil votes බලාගෙන එන්න.
ඕගලගේ ඡන්ද රනිල්ට දාන්න ඕනේ. පොඩ්ඩක් කතා කරන්න ඕනේ. ඩිවෙලොප් කරන්න ඕනේ. යුත් එකේ ජොබ් දෙන්න ඕනේ. මේක ට්‍රේඩ් කඩියෝකම නවත්තන්න ඕනේ. ඒක ආණ්ඩුව කැන්ඩිගේ ජනාධිපති කරුත් තමයි අපිට මුල මේක
ටෙරරිස්ට් ලීඩර් කෙනෙක් ආයෙ ගේන්න කියන එක පිළිගන්න බෑ.
අයියෝ සරංජන් සම්දේ කතා කරනකොට අපිට ටෙන්ෂන් නේ.
ටෙන්ෂන් ඔව්.
කැන්ඩිගල ඉන්න පුළුවන් නේ අපා.
Organisation dubbed the Search for Common Ground refutes claim which suggests that the 25% quota for women representation in local authorities resulted in a breakdown of the newly introduced mixed electoral system. Addressing an awareness program today, political consultant for the organisation Kanakabe Gunawardena warned that this particular misconception could lead to potential women candidates losing their representation in the upcoming provincial council election.
The organisation dubbed the Search for Common Ground joined hands with the Women Parliamentarians Caucus to conduct a special media awareness program to shed light on various challenges faced by women members elected during the recent local authorities election. 16 women members representing all districts participated in the event, which also focused on challenges women politicians could face during the upcoming provincial council election.
After the recent election concluded, we had about 2 months almost waiting for the names to come out, and the calculations were messy and there were difficulties in implementing the system. I think there is a perception now it is all down to the 25% quota, which is not the case. It was more to do with the entire system and increasing the number, because those things changed several times. I mean, if we had included 25% in the original system, that would have been better for the country as well as for women. From that example, we are coming to the provincial council elections, and now most of the parties are determined not to give quota system for women.
Abe Gunawardena also expressed her views regarding a suitable electoral system for the upcoming provincial council election.
Majority of the country wanted to get rid of the preferential voting system. I think we should try to get rid of it as much as possible. At the moment, I am told that there's a 50-50 proposal. That means the party hierarchy get a chance to bring whoever they want. Probably people who can't contest and come through the support of the ground people. Democracy is all about people's mandate and people's vote. If that is the case, I think more weight should be put on that rather than list prepared by party leaders.
In a media communique, the New York Times today called on the Sri Lankan government to ensure safety of its journalists in the backdrop of an article titled "How China Got Sri Lanka to Cough Up a Port," which the paper published on the 26th of June. Its international editor, Michael Slackman, mentioning the media conference, which was called by the members of the joint opposition, where pictures and information of the local reporters were publicized. The New York Times editor says that it is unacceptable for journalists to be intimidated in that manner. It further calls on former President Mahinda Rajapaksa to directly deal with senior editors of the New York Times in case the former head of state has any issues with the paper's reporting of the said article. Meanwhile, the United National Party has decided to request a parliamentary debate on controversial article on Hambantota Port and China. The UNP parliamentary group meeting was held yesterday under the patronage of Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe at Temple Trees.
You are watching Sri Lanka's award-winning news channel, Derana 24/7.
Welcome back to news. On your business news tonight, Minister of Finance Mangala Samaravira affirms the government's commitment towards the betterment of the country's young and budding entrepreneurs. He said that the government has initiated the project Enterprise Sri Lanka to uplift creative and skilled young entrepreneurs, indicative of its commitment. The minister expressed these views addressing a function held in Mathura recently.
Universities can only accommodate 25,000 students annually. Around 250,000 youths sit for the advanced level examination each year. Although these students pass the examination successfully, only 25,000 have the opportunity to enter universities. From those who are left, if their parents can afford, some enter foreign universities. Some others enter private universities in Sri Lanka. Thousands more with skills stay at home with disappointments. Today, education should be fashioned according to the skills of each student, and they should believe they can achieve higher targets. A youth without a degree with business knowledge can even become high achievers in the country. That's why we commenced a mega project called Enterprise Sri Lanka, which will be carried out by all the banks within 2 more weeks. With this project, the intention is to take the burden of interest over to the government and to provide loans to entrepreneurs with creative ideas according to their skills.
The All-Share Price Index extended falls today to a 15-month closing low as continued foreign selling in blue chips. Political uncertainty and concerns about low economic growth dented investor appetite for risky assets. The Colombo Stock Index declined for a 16th session in 18 and closed 0.77% weaker at 6,081.08. Turnover was 566.5 million rupees, less than this year's daily average of 932 million rupees. We now have Imesh Fernando from the Colombo Stock Exchange bringing you the market update.
The turnover was 566.5 million rupees with 11.8 million shares changing hands in 3,495 trades. The market capitalization at the end of the day was 2,840.71 billion rupees. Today's foreign purchases were 168.48 million rupees and foreign sales were 351.3 million rupees. There were 2 crossings today and the crossing turnover was 79.2 million rupees.
Sri Lanka's premier news channel, Derana 24/7.
Former Malaysian Prime Minister Najib Razak has been arrested by anti-corruption authorities and is due to be charged tomorrow. Najib, who has long been plagued by allegations of corruption, has been accused of pocketing $700 million from State Development Fund IMDb. Raids in recent weeks have been carried out across properties linked to Najib, and police say they recovered $273 million in luxury goods and cash from a raid in June, calling the seizure of valuable the biggest in Malaysian history. Jewellery accounted for the biggest portion of the seizure, with the most expensive items being a $1.6 million diamond and gold necklace. Najib has been under investigation since his shock election loss in May, but denies wrongdoing. According to a statement by the IMDb Special Task Force, Najib was arrested at his house in relation to matters dealing with SRC, a subsidiary of 1MDB. He will be charged at 8:30 tomorrow morning at the Kuala Lumpur High Court. The International Cricket Council today called on Sri Lanka cricket to hold elections within 6 months, saying any failure in this regard would lead to SRC's membership status being considered. It also expressed willingness to allow a representative of the Sri Lankan Sports Minister to sit as an observer to the ICC board and full council. We are at the halfway point of the round of 16 at the Football World Cups, with Sweden, Switzerland, Colombia and England in action today. Sweden progressed to the quarter-final moments ago with a 1-0 win over Switzerland. Their opponents in the next round will be decided between Colombia and England, with the two sides set to kick off their match in 2 hours' time. Yesterday, however, without a doubt, served up the thrill of the tournament so far, with Belgium sealing the fate of Japan with virtually the last kick of the match.
It was truly the thriller in Rostov when Belgium took on Japan yesterday. Locked on 0-0 at half-time, Japan stunned the footballing world when they galloped into a 2-goal lead early in the second half of the match. A looping header from centre-back Jan Vertonghen and another textbook header from brilliant substitute Marouane Fellaini made it 2-2. No country had come back from 2 goals down in a World Cup knockout match to win since West Germany did against England in 1970. But that's exactly what Belgium did, as a sweeping breakaway from a Japan corner led to Nasser Chadli claiming the winner in the 94th minute to set up a meeting with Brazil. In the day's other match, favourites Brazil took on Mexico. The performance from the South American giants had flashes of their usual brilliance, with the men in yellow scoring 2 unanswered goals. Their star striker Neymar got on the scoresheet, while Liverpool forward Firmino also chipped in with a goal.
You are watching Sri Lanka's #1 news channel, Other Derana 24/7.
A very good evening and welcome to Forecast First. It's going to be a sweltering day in the northern, eastern and southeastern parts of the country tomorrow. High temperatures coming close to 35 degrees Celsius is set to prevail, aiding the tourist season, especially in the likes of Trincomalee and Batticaloa in full swing. The heat will be at its peak during morning and early afternoon, with it gradually dissipating as the day comes close to dusk. That too won't be by much, and it will be rather humid evenings in those areas. As for the rest of the island, there will be some mild showers, especially in the western province, making it easier on the heat front. That's it from your weather center tonight. Up next is your city by city forecast.
And with that, we wrap up this edition of First at 9. But thank you for joining us and have a pleasant evening.